want to talk right now a little bit about this whole idea of raising canes coming to Poway. And this is it sounds like kind of a trivial story, right? Oh, some fast food joints moving into Poway, not a big deal, right? Well, this has actually stirred up a whole bunch of discussion and controversy here in my hometown of Poway. So, the breaking news on this is that the city of Poway, the city council, has stated that they support adding a Raising Cane's restaurant on Poway Road. And you might be thinking, well, what's Raising Cane's? And it's like another one of these chicken restaurants that's competitive with Chick-fil-A and competitive with what's the other one? Popeyes and the like. And there's obviously a lot of hardcore fans of some of these restaurants. And they're going to be transforming essentially an empty lot that has been vacant forever on Poway Road. Right near the what would that be? Kind of near the Kumeyaay Native Indian Interpretive Center that's right there. There's also like across the street, kitty corner from a Bank of America. It's been an empty lot forever. And it's been owned by the local Ford dealership. Back, it used to be Perry Ford. I don't know what they're called now. But it was like an overflow lot, and there's some kind of a shed there. And this has been, really just an empty lot. It's been kind of blighted property. They're transforming this into a brand new restaurant. And according to Caylin Frank, who's shown up there on the screen, Caylin Frank, of course, one of our city council members in Poway, she said, quote, "I love this plan. It takes a blighted property that's an eyesore and turns it into something beautiful. I absolutely support it." And, this is, by the way, in her district, District 4. And I generally support what Caylin Frank is saying. I think, yeah, this is going to be an upgrade to an area of Poway Road that's just been dormant. It's going to increase the value of the property. It's going to provide more amenities for people here in Poway to find new restaurants and to shop. It's going to upgrade it. It does, though, fall into the trap. I remember the first time I drove on Poway Road. Gosh, I was trying to get out to Ramona one day. This is in the early 90s, like maybe 1990, 1991. And the way to go to Ramona was to go through Poway and go up to Highway 67. And I remember making a comment to myself that every fast food joint known to mankind has a franchise or has an outlet there on Poway Road. And we seem to keep adding to this. And so the latest is Raising Cane's. Now, Brian Peppin, who is another city council member here in Poway, he commented that, he was concerned whether the building's modern industrial farmhouse style architecture, which is designed with indoor and outdoor covered dining areas, will be compatible with Poway Road's country style theme. And this is an interesting comment. Okay, so Brian Peppin, he's one of the newer council members, and he represents District, is it 1? I think it's 1. Or no, wait, no, it's 2. He's in District 2. And, he's making this comment about whether the architecture is a right fit for the city. To me, this is something that city council people shouldn't be involved in the first place, is this kind of idea of micromanaging, trying to be some kind of an architect approval person or interior designer person, and whether it fits the profile for Poway's country style. I mean, if Poway had a legitimate, as he said, a country style theme, they wouldn't have built the business park. They wouldn't have, built a lot of these condos on Poway Road. They wouldn't have built a lot of other things here in town. Poway has this motto of being the city in the country, but that's like such a throwback, feel-good idea from so long ago that it really doesn't apply anymore. And so this idea of saying, I'm not sure if this kind of fits our profile. And by the way, it's a modern industrial farmhouse look to Raising Cane's. So it's probably going to fit. But to me, this is just kind of a virtue signal to voters in Poway saying, he's on board with the city and the country idea. But the city officials have planned to make some adjustments in this, or some recommendations. Construction is gonna start in May of 2024. It will be completed at the end of 24 or the early part of 2025. And then Mayor Steve Vaus chimed in and he says, "I'm excited to see it come together. It's a vast improvement over what's there." Well, yeah, it absolutely is. If you drive by, that lot's been empty, or it's been a overflow vacant lot for as long as I've lived in Poway, and I've lived in Poway now since 1996. So it's going to be a definite upgrade. I think it's great. Now, the Louisiana-based company specializes in chicken fingers, but also offers sandwiches and side dishes such as Texas toast, coleslaw, crinkle cut fries, along with beverages, yada, yada, yada. So now, this, of course, did ignite a lot of opposition from who, Chris Cruz, who runs the South and North Poway vote. She also has got this new site called Poway Voices. And Chris Cruz and a lot of her followers are generally anti-development, particularly on Poway Road. And her objections were, you're claiming you're trying to make this city a more walkable community on Poway Road, and now you're putting in a fast food restaurant with a drive-through, and that's not compatible with a walkable community. And oh, by the way, the city of Poway is the only city in the county that doesn't have a, what do you call it, a climate change plan. It has no, climate plan for the city of Poway. And now you're going to be inviting more cars that are going to be sitting there idling in the drive-through line, spewing carbon, and just making our climate change problems worse. Okay, let's break all that down. Okay, first of all, is this going to be compatible with a more walkable community on Poway Road? The answer is yes. Of course it is. There's going to be a bunch of apartment buildings that are built about a block away. There's going to be, I don't know how many units there, 200, 300 units. It's going to provide more options for people to walk down Poway Road. 100%. There's a lot of people that live within a few blocks of this restaurant that will definitely be walking there, for sure. People that are south of Poway Road, people that are north of Poway Road, people that do business on Poway Road. Now, is it going to be more car traffic going in and out? Well, yeah, it will be. And Poway Road is kind of a cluster there. I mean, we've talked a little bit about, the Poway Urbanist is another local guy that runs some local content about city planning, and he makes arguments about streets versus roads, and streets are kind of those local streets that you have 25 miles per hour, and people are parking to go shopping or go into restaurants. And then you have roads, which are, where people can go 50 miles an hour, kind of like a small freeway to get from point A to point B. But Poway Road's kind of a mix of both, which makes it difficult. So yeah, there's going to be more driving on Poway Road around this site. But I've heard forever people in Poway say we need more restaurant options, and they're right. Kind of wish it wasn't Raising Cane's. I know my son will be excited when he comes back to Poway to visit, because he and his buddies used to have to drive out to, I don't know, Mira Mesa or somewhere to go to Raising Cane's. It's another fast food place. I would prefer kind of more of a, sit down restaurants, outdoor patio. Well, this does have an outdoor patio, but kind of a little bit more upscale than fast food. I mean, it doesn't need to be a white tablecloth restaurant. That's what I prefer. But then again, I'm just a guy. I'm a guy with a podcast, and people are going to show their interest in this by doing business there. And I don't think we as citizens should be able to dictate to that property owner what they can put there and what they can't put there. But it is going in, and I think this is interesting. It's just yet another improvement along Poway Road. And then, let me just take a quick tangent and talk about one more thing on Poway Road. Is, they're building that, what is it called? The Fairfield project that's going in where Poway Road bowling alley used to be and where the thrift stores used to be. And that is going vertical in a hurry, and people are freaking out. Well, the latest change is that along Poway Road, along the median there, they had a bunch of palm trees that were, because they have other kinds of trees and shrubbery there along the median on Poway Road, and some of it looks better than others. But they cut down these palm trees because they're going to add a signal and a turn so people that are going westbound on Poway Road can pull into this new housing complex, the Fairfield project. And boy, some of the people here in town were really angry about that. You're cutting down trees. This is supposed to be a tree city, USA. What are you doing here? And then Pete Neal, my good friend, who's a frequent guest on the podcast, he was commenting how the trees were cut down and right down the center of Poway Road, which, by the way, is the dividing line between districts 4 and all in districts 1, 2, and 3. I think at that particular juncture, it might be the border between District 2 and District 4. And he was speculating whether or not Brian Peppin and Caylin Frank got together and talked about this, since it was right on their dividing line. But there's upgrades going on Poway Road, and part of this is there's disruption, and people are just still very, very uncomfortable with change. I am, as I said before, generally very supportive of this. I'm not a big supporter of canes, raising canes, but I'm a supporter of more restaurant options. But ultimately, the property owner should be able to develop on their property. And here they're taking a vacant auto overflow lot and turning it into a restaurant that's going to make a lot of people in Poway happy. I know there's going to be a ton of Raising Cane's fans. I mean, you should have seen when they had the grand opening for the Chick-fil-A. I mean, that was like a major event in Poway. You had all the city council members there, Mayor Steve Vaus, big ribbon cutting ceremony. There'll probably be something similar to that when this thing eventually opens at the end of 2024 or early 2025. So what do you think about this? Putting in a Raising Cane's on Poway Road. Is this just more of a cluster on Poway Road, more traffic, more people, more infrastructure, more just congestion? Or is this an upgrade? What do you think? If you have comments or questions, just drop them in the live chat on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll see you on the screen and I'll get you involved.